The following compilation features unsettling and spine-chilling tales sourced from Reddit's horror communities. Reader discretion is strongly advised. These narratives may contain graphic descriptions, psychological distress, and themes that could unsettle sensitive individuals. Proceed with caution, as immersion into these eerie stories may provoke fear, unease, and sleep disturbances. Enter this realm of Reddit's creepy horror stories at your own risk, as the line between reality and the macabre may blur within these chilling narratives. I met my wife Sarah 11 years ago thanks to a blind date set up by my childhood best friend Thomas. It was a story of two university students falling in love at first sight. Not once has she ever acted abnormal. It may sound like I'm overreacting, but seriously, this whole situation has gotten so strange, I feel like I can't sleep until I type the whole situation out. Let me explain. It all started one night when I was coming back from work at 2 a.m. after an exhausting day. For context, I work as a brain surgeon, and those jobs aren't necessarily easy, especially when starting out. Closing the door behind me, Sarah runs out to give me a huge hug as she squeals with excitement. I could smell pasta on her apron mixed with her perfume. "How was work today?" she asked, kissing me. "Tiring," I said. "Today's operation was tough." "Or," she replied while holding my hand, "well, I made you some pasta, your favorite. I hope you're hungry." I sat down on the kitchen table to see her delicious pasta already prepared. Starving, I began eating like my life depended on it. Sarah, however, was watching me eat, sat down, face cupped by her hands, smiling at me. "Hey babe," she asked. I paused, my mouth still full. A bit of sauce was dripping down my chin. "Yes, baby?" Sarah giggled. "Would you still love me if I was a worm?" I swallowed my food and raised an eyebrow. "Sorry, what?" "Would you still love me if I was a worm?" she insisted. I laughed. "Babe, what kind of question is that?" She pouted. "It's not a joke. Answer it. Would you?" "I what?" Tsk. She got up, her smile fading from her face. "Babe, come on." I stood up, hugging her. Shaking her head, she pushed me away, then walked to her room, slamming the door shut behind her. "Geez, what's up with her?" I thought to myself. Finishing my food, I washed the dishes, got ready for bed, then walked to the bedroom. She was already asleep, presumably. I was too tired to ask any questions and fell asleep almost instantly. The next day, I woke up and embraced myself for another busy work schedule. Sarah seemed to have gone back to her normal self and cooked me breakfast: eggs on toast, avocado, and a cup of coffee. As I was eating, Sarah asked me the same question. "Hey babe," she asked. "Yes, baby," I responded, looking up from my plate. "Would you still love me if I was a worm?" she repeated, same as yesterday. I sighed. "Baby, please. I'm tired this morning. No stupid questions right now. I need to..." Sarah snapped. "It's not a stupid question. I need to know, would you?" I stayed silent. "Answer me," Sarah continued. I threw my fork on the plate. I usually wouldn't act out because of some childish question, but I was running on 4 hours of sleep and a cup of coffee. The last thing I needed was an argument over something so arbitrary and insignificant. "Baby, seriously," I pleaded, getting up. I didn't care if it was a joke or not. I just couldn't deal with it at the moment. "Are you kidding me right now?" Sarah frowned. "I'm just too tired for this right now," I explained, walking to the front entrance. "I'm late for work. I need to go." Sarah grabbed me from the arm. Her grip was surprisingly strong, especially for a petite girl like her. I grunted and turned around. She looked genuinely irritated. I sighed and gave up. "Yes, I would. There, you happy?" She smiled. "Stay safe today. Don't push yourself too hard." I was taken aback by the sudden change in personality. Annoyed but not wanting to argue, I put on my coat and walked out, slamming the door shut behind me. She didn't ask me the question again when I got back home that night. Unfortunately, the story only gets worse from here. Saturday came, which meant a day off to catch up on sleep and spend time with Sarah. We decided we might as well spend the afternoon at the zoo. I figured it would release some tension from our recent arguments. After packing some snacks and getting some cash, we got into the car and I started driving. It didn't take long before we reached the highway. It was quiet for a bit before Sarah initiated. "Oh, right. Babe, I forgot to ask you something," she said, perking up. "What's up?" I asked, making sure I kept my eyes on the road. "Would you still love me if I was a worm?" I was at my limit. Clenching my fist, I punched the car wheel. "Sarah, seriously, can you stop asking that? I answered you already." "Not this again," she responded, raising her voice to uncomfortable levels. "Answer the question, would you?" For the first time, I took my eyes off the road. "Sarah, I'm being serious. I'm tired of you asking me this. It's been a busy week." I didn't know if it was stress or the fact that I hadn't completely caught up on sleep, but I was more annoyed than usual. "Why do you keep asking me? Is there something wrong that you—" Before I finished, Sarah screamed. Jolting, I instinctively looked back on the road. A truck was speeding straight towards us. Without having enough time to move out of the way, we crashed. Out of pure shock and instant pain, I passed out almost instantly. I woke up a few hours later in a hospital bed after sustaining what the doctor described to be major injuries. I soon after learned that my wife, Sarah, didn't survive the crash. I was speechless. The wife that I had loved for over a decade since the university days left my life because of a stupid, immature argument. I was dispatched from the hospital after a week, but the guilt hadn't left me. I was still shaking, constantly holding back tears. Every night, the scenario replayed in my head. I felt incapable of feeling anything else, demotivated to even get out of bed. The house had a subtle, lingering scent of her perfume. What if I had just answered the question normally? What if I had spent more time with her? Could I have avoided all of this? Was it my fault? Eventually, I broke down crying in my room. However, as I would realize soon, this wasn't the end. A month later, I got back to working again. Although life didn't feel the same, I had to somehow move on. Maybe staying busy would help. For my first surgery coming back, a mother ran into the hospital while holding a child in a panic. She explained that she had been scuba diving in the lake with her son before he suddenly passed out. We predicted that it may have been a parasite that had entered the kid's body, as was shockingly common, so we got to work. After rapidly doing an MRI, we noticed that something was off. Most of the body was fine. Everything except for the brain was, at least. Checking the MRI photo of the brain, my heart stopped. There was no doubt that some sort of parasite, no, a large worm, was in the kid's brain, but the brain itself was what sent shivers down my spine. The worm had eaten a large part of it with enough precision and thought to spell something out. Something familiar. I gasped and fell on my knees, shaking at what read out. "Would you still love me if I was a worm? Thank you for venturing into the darkness with us. If you dare to explore further, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more spine-tingling tales of horror and the supernatural. Remember, the shadows hold endless mysteries, waiting to be unveiled. Stay tuned for more bone-chilling stories as we continue to traverse the eerie depths of the unknown together. Until next time, may your dreams be free from the haunting echoes of our tales. Or perhaps not.